It is a real honor for me to bring on our speaker, who we have found wandering the corridors of the theatre. Malala, as you'll all know, Yousafzai, was born in the Swat Valley in Pakistan. She was a great campaigner for education, taught by her father, who's here tonight, who's a wonderful teacher and a mentor to her. She spoke out on behalf of the education of women from the age, I think, of 11. She wrote blogs about that. The Taliban in that region not only disapprove of education for women, but actively seek to discourage it. She spoke out on behalf of it, and a decision was taken by the Taliban that she had to be stopped. And at the age of 15, she was confronted on a bus and shot. And with great luck, miraculously, she survived. She came to England, where she was treated, and she has gone on. She was already becoming a great voice for education, but she's gone on, I think, to probably be the leading icon in the world for education, not just of women, but particularly of women, but of all young people everywhere. And she doesn't talk about it just, she talks about it beautifully. She spoke recently at the United Nations, she's spoken at the White House, she was in Nigeria recently. She's traveling the world for the Malala Fund. She doesn't just speak it, she lives it. She is the prime example of what she's arguing for. And on your behalf, may I welcome to the stage Malala.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most beneficent. The first thing is that I'm not that much tall, and I'm hopeful that you will be able to see me, because this podium, it should have been shorter. So, but well, that's all right. Then I would like to say thank you to the World Merit and the CEO, the founder, and to every member of this team for giving me this great opportunity to be here and to share my feelings and my thoughts with you all, and to meet you all, because you are the young generation, and I'm very happy that I'm here. People usually call me like Malala Yousafzai, the girl shot by the Taliban, or the girl who speaks for education. But I would like to share my story with you, like where I came from and what was the reason that lead me to speak up for education, and why am I speaking now, and what's the reason behind that. So in the north of Pakistan, there's a beautiful place called Swat Valley, and it's known for its beauty. Tourists from all over the world used to go there. And I was this girl there named Malala, and I had two brothers. They're still there. And they're very nice brothers. Not really. And I was enjoying my life, going to school every day, carrying this heavy bag, and didn't know like what is the importance of this huge bag in which I have put a lot of books, what is the importance of the homework which I do every day, and why am I going to school? And I was not realizing, even though I loved my school, I loved my education, but was not really thinking like how it's going to empower me. But then in 2007, some terrorists came into our valley, and they were called the Taliban. And they came with their own created message, and they said that in Islam, girls are not allowed to go to school, and there is no freedom for women, and women should stay in their houses. And they banned girls' education. And they stopped women from going to markets, and they blasted more than 400 schools at that time. And I was one of those girls who could not go to school, and I wanted to continue my education. And at that time, I realized that education is something that is empowering me, that is making me independent, that is making me able to take part in society and to contribute to my society. And these people do not want women to come forward, and that's why they are stopping them from getting education. And I said that I will stand up for my rights. I will speak up, I will raise my voice. And at that time, me and there were a few other girls and my father and his friends, we continued this campaign and we spoke up for peace and education in our valley, Swat. I wrote a diary for the BBC, and through the diary, I was sharing my story with people from all over the world so that they can hear what is happening in Swat. And I also appeared in documentaries and in interviews. I was not realizing that these documentaries or these interviews would bring a change and these will do something. But soon in 2009, when peace was restored, when a military operation was done, and when schools restarted, and we started going back to school, I realized that yes, our voices are powerful. And I realized that a woman's voice is more powerful than any other voice. And this is what we proved in Swat. Few girls spoke, and they changed the whole situation. Now there is peace, and everything is going well. But during this whole situation, when there was terrorism, I spoke because of something. There were actually like two choices for me. One was to remain silent and suffer through terrorism and waiting to be killed. And the second option was to speak up and then be killed. And I chose the second one. We spoke up for our rights because we did not want to live in that situation. We were not allowed to go to school and where we have to live under the terrorism of Taliban. Now, when we look at the current situation, there are many children who are out of school. There are 57 million children who have no access to education. It's about the primary level. There are like 57 million children. And women are given rights and they are respected in many countries now, in the developed countries. But if we look at the developing countries, they still need their rights and they still need support from society and they still need more spaces. And if we look at the current situation of some countries like Syria, where there is a big conflict and many of the children are now refugees, and there are about 300,000 children in Lebanon only. And these children are deprived of education and they have missed their school for more than 3 years. And this is the time that they need our support, and this is the time that we should support them. Then when we look at the situation in Nigeria, there's this group, just like the Taliban, called Boko Haram, and they also want girls not to be educated. They do not believe in any education. They do not want women to be active. They do not want women to take part in society and to be recognized as human beings. And in Nigeria, the situation is the same as the situation we were suffering in Swat. In Swat, we were not allowed to go to school, and the same situation girls in Nigeria are suffering through. They are not allowed to go to school. And you might have heard about the 200 girls who were abducted by Boko Haram, and they are in a very difficult situation now. We cannot even imagine being under this group called Boko Haram, and we do not even know in which conditions those girls would be. And they really need our support right now. And we should speak up for them, and we should ask the government and the responsible people to do something. And as well, thank you. Now there's this big conflict in Iraq as well, and when we look at the current issues, there is this big war, we may call it, or conflict between Israel and Gaza, Palestine, and many children are dying, innocent children are dying who have committed no crime, and we should not lose these children, our future generation. And we are answerable, like we should think about them, and why are they dying, what's their crime? So peace is very necessary, and all the countries, all the responsible people, the leaders, they should come and they should sit together and find solutions to these issues. We cannot solve any problem through wars. The only way we can solve problems is through dialogue, and we should use dialogue for solving our problems between the countries or between different regions. So whatever is going on in this whole world where we are, fortunately or maybe unfortunately, there are wars, there are conflicts, and sometimes people lose hope. Sometimes I lose hope. I just think like, how are we going to do it? How are we going to get rid of these wars? How are we going to stop the killing of these children and innocent people and women? But if we look back at the situation that we suffered through in Swat, there comes hope. Because in Swat, I could not imagine for a second that one day we would be free to go to school. And that day came. We are free to go to school there in Swat. There are no Taliban on the streets. So we should be hopeful. And we should just have a look back at the history and think about the time when Martin Luther King Jr., when he was speaking and saying that I have a dream. He was saying that I have a dream, and he wanted black and white and all colors, the people with any kind of color to be treated equally. And his dream is coming true, and we are seeing that dream in reality now. It's now a reality. We should think about the time when women were speaking up for their rights of vote. They were shouting in the streets and they were begging that we need to be respected in society. We should have the right to vote. And now we see that women are allowed to vote. And I'll share my personal story as well. I went to Kenya for the purpose that I should go there and see the work that Free the Children, which is a very good organization. They're doing great work. I wanted to see their work in Kenya and how they do it, because we have now set up the Malala Fund, and the Malala Fund wants to learn from other organizations how to work on the ground, how to make it stable, and how to see like it's like a good development and we're contributing to the society. So when we went there, I saw these people from Masai Mara, and they were amazing. And there was one Masai warrior, and I asked that warrior that, why are you called warrior, and how can you become a warrior? So they said that when you kill one or more than one lion, then you can become a warrior. And he said that it was in the past that they used to think like that. Now, because of education, because of the work of the Free the Children, and now they're going to school, they have changed their minds. They have changed their culture. They say that when a boy or a girl gets a degree, gets quality education, then we call them Maasai warriors. And if we kill lions, then the lions would be finished. So this is how change comes into society, and these are the contributions of some great people, and this is the contribution of education to society. So we should not be hopeless. We should be hopeful, because things are going to change with the passage of time, and it is we who are going to bring the change. It is we who are going to make our future bright. So we should not be hopeful, and we should not be hopeless, sorry. And the other thing was that in Masai Mara, the change came because of education. And this is what my message is to the whole world, that let us focus on education. Let's make sure that every child is getting education, is going to school. And there is no child left. And we should not hear that there are 57 million children out of school, but rather we should hear that there are 0 children out of school. So this is how we are going to bring change in our society, and this is how we are going to see that there is peace in every corner of the world, and every child is treated equally. No child is killed in any kind of war. So I'm hopeful that this change will come, but the change comes through our struggle. And I know that there are young people in this audience, and I'm hopeful that you will contribute to this campaign, and you will be the ones who are going to bring the change, and you are going to be the next Martin Luther King Jr.'s, and you are going to be the activists who are going to bring change, and you are going to be the Nelson Mandelas. So I should not lose hope, you should not lose hope, and we should be hopeful, and we can bring the change through education. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.